What's up guys, King Crisis here. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you guys enjoy my content, comment down below some more video suggestions. With that being said, I'm open to any and all at this time. Now, I know it's been a while since I last uploaded. I know I promised you guys specials. Life is not the easiest for me right now. I mean, mental health has been destroying me. School has been destroying me. Extracurriculars have been destroying me. Work has been destroying me. Working out has been destroying me. All in all, it's been a lot on my plate right now. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do after high school, if I really want to do this army stuff, if I want to go to college and do, I don't know, choir, JROTC, football. Like, I'm really trying to figure out if I want to do something like that. And I also been thinking about my channel as of late. My videos, compared to other whatevers, are trash. And that's simply because I do one thing that the others don't. I try too much, basically. I don't make the story simple. I go overboard in cursing and all that. It's just not what it's supposed to be. That being said, maybe a few changes to the content as of late, including the fact that I'm going to start adding 7 Deadly Sins videos into the channel. With that being said, well, let's start this video. The story starts off with a very old Izuku. Izuku has lived out his life as a hero. Without his power of one for all, he's been able to do all that he needed to do. With this suit of armor, he became a pro hero that was able to rise to the top 10 rankings. Although he could never become the #1 hero, he was still able to become a symbol of peace. Someone that will always be remembered to be the most powerful hero on the planet at once in his life. Since the world knows that he lost his quirk, despite everything, Izuku was still never able to become #1, all strictly due to the fact that quirks continue to evolve. People continue to grow stronger, and some of his classmates even continue to have more and more abilities come through, more and more power to make them shine through. Well, Lemillion, Todoroki, with their quirks constantly getting stronger, it was pretty much no way for him to succeed. This shattered Izuku. Deep down inside, he always felt a bit jealous of them. But it's Izuku. He never showed it, and he never let it take over him. So Izuku decided that if, for whatever reason, he was given a second chance, he would do things the right way. And that is where our story begins. With the death of an old man Izuku, his wish will be granted by the gods, and with a snap of a finger, Izuku would wake up. The first thing he sees is his room. All my posters all around the wall. The bright lights and Inko at the door. Come on, sweetie, we're gonna go to the quirk doctor today. Izuku just looks upwards. He's confused. He can't really process what's going on around him. And when he looks forward, he sees his mother, slim, just like she once was. His beautiful mother. He blinked a few times, trying to process what he was seeing, but it's almost like he can't. He can't truly process this. What the heck is happening? Izuku would get up and he would expect himself to at least touch the floor, but nope, he did not touch the floor. He had to jump off of the bed. Izuku then would follow his mother, and from here he would go to the bathroom, and he looks in the mirror, and the first thing he sees is his self. He looks so young. At least, no, the shirt he's wearing, the house he's in, all the old posters on his wall, the really old All Might posters. Izuku processes it all. There's no way. I gotta be dreaming, right? Izuku would then go with his mother to the quirk doctor's office, and well, Izuku is processing everything. He looks forward and the doctors will tell him, yeah, Izuku Midoriya is quirkless. And Izuku isn't shocked at all. There is no tears, there's no dropping the toy, there is no, mommy, what's that? No, he looks there, knowing this information already. And then he looks towards his mother, shattered. Same reaction as she had in the original timeline. He then finally realizes he's sent back in time. But how? Why? What does he even do about this? I mean, Sure, he admits that he was old, probably died, and this is how this happened. Was it a dormant quirk he had all along? A second chance based quirk? A mutation quirk that is invisible until death? He just looks forward, and well, he shrugs his shoulders, saying, whatever. Most likely it was something that that made him return like this. It had to have been. He looks forward. Well, from here, him and his mother would return home. That day, or that whole week actually, Inko did not bring Izuku to school. Izuku actually requested this himself. And well, that whole week, he was processing everything, writing everything down in his journals, everything he could possibly think of, and then goes as far as writing down everything he remembers about his hero suit and One for All, remembering all the mechanics and parts that he had built with his original armor. Yes, Izuku Midoriya was a teacher at UA. Izuku Midoriya had became a pro hero using an Iron Man suit, and we all know how Deku is. I'm pretty sure Deku literally, I'm pretty sure he took that whole suit apart piece by piece and got every individual piece of that suit labeled, written down somewhere. It's just no way Deku did not do that. I mean, if he didn't do that, yeah, it's pretty freaking crazy. But I highly doubt Izuku not searching that entire suit down. I just don't see it. I literally just do not see a chance with him not doing that. And since I don't see it being likely that he didn't do something like this, Izuku would build this schematics for his suit all over again. And then Izuku from here will begin to do the same research, well, most support tech kids would do. He returns to school and, well, tells his classmates about the fact of him being quirkless. Everyone would still bully Izuku like they would have in the original timeline, laughing at him, picking at him, and just all in all doing him very wrong. But it didn't stop Izuku in this timeline. It motivated him. Because he knew at the end of the day, half of these kids in here probably could beat him in a fight, even as a little kid right now. So that brought forth confidence and made Izuku be proud because he knows no matter what they say, they can't beat him. So why would he worry about it? Bakugo, on the other hand, his best friend, it was still painful for Izuku because he knows the person that Bakugo becomes. And seeing, well, this side of Bakugo again really isn't the best experience for Izuku. And he can't just go up to him and be like, hey, I'm from the future, blah, 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 blah. I know how you're going to be. You're going to be a great hero. He can't just go up to him and do that because, well, he doesn't know what will happen. He doesn't know how disrupting the timeline will go. Him doing different research and, well, building a schematics for his suit really isn't going to just do anything. Because after all, only thing he's doing is writing some stuff down on paper. He hopes it isn't like if I pick a pear or I trip on a fruit, the whole world's going to end. He really hope it isn't like that, but who knows? So, from here, Izuku would eventually do something unexpected. He sends the schematics for his robotic suit into a support tech company. He sends it in and he has everything filed. Everything you could humanly imagine, which means that the support tech company he sent this suit to, they can make the suit for him, but they cannot mass produce it. It is all underneath his name, his work, his design. And he'll give them 50% of the profit for the entire suit. If they build it for him, 50% of the profit that is made on that suit, 50% of anything that comes from the suit, so things that he's going to start doing with the suit, like he's going to start making YouTube videos, TikTok videos, posting everything about him in this suit to show the quirkless people that they can do it. They can be heroes with these suits. And well, the company actually goes forward. They agree with Izuku, and they actually would produce Izuku's hero tech armor. Obviously, it's not going to be the same one as it was in the original timeline. Because, well, Izuku he just doesn't really know how to do that quite yet. He isn't really able to just process it yet. Because, of course, I mean, come on. It's a hero tech armor. Izuku, realistically, is not going to have any clue how to, fully make this. But a support tech company is. And they're just not as advanced as Hatsume and freaking what's her name? I don't remember her name. But they're just not Melissa. They're not as advanced as Melissa and Mei Hatsume. I just do not see them being as advanced as them in any way, shape, or form. But the company still is able to produce an extremely powerful suit, which Izuku, well, would eventually have mailed to his home. And it would be mailed in the form of a little slip around his wrist. Once Izuku has his slip around his wrist, it comes with a briefcase. Well, inside that briefcase is Izuku's armor, and the briefcase itself is part of his armor. So, Izuku will always have the briefcase in his backpack at school. From here, when it became times for physical activities, Izuku would always activate the armor. And from here, he begins to show off a bit, with a lot of kids in the class actually starting to believe that Izuku developed a quirk. From here, Izuku decided one thing. Either he changes things, or he doesn't. He doesn't know how this is going to work. Why not change it? He thinks about his entire life, thinks about how badly he was bullied. He was sign annoyance and decides, screw it. He's going to say something. Remember, originally what I said a few minutes ago, Izuku did not know if he would disrupt the timeline or not, if things would go horribly. But then, now he's thinking, if he does, what if he fixes things? What if he makes his own life and other people's lives better like this? If he could prevent the war arc, he would. If he could prevent all those people dying, he will. So from here, Izuku would lie to his classmates, explain that he has a technopath quirk, which allowed him to, well, create this, showing off his briefcase. And then he would even show the activation of it, like, well, his wrist suddenly glowing blue, and all of a sudden, well, the briefcase will break apart and an armor will form around his body. Izuku would show off, well, the 10, whatever the heck those things are called, the little wires that he used as if Black Whip. He shows off the repulsors he used as his air blast. He shows off the super strength, the speed. Izuku just all in all begins to show off his armor, and from here, he begins to, well, produce it. He begins to make videos in it all the time. Day in and day out, he would make videos showing off his armor. But more importantly, would be Izuku's own training. He would be doing lots and lots of physical and mental training. Because, well, Izuku needs mental training. Izuku's like Izuku's like a 60, 80-year-old man inside of a kid's body. Because he died at like 80 something years old. So Izuku's old as fuck inside of a child's body. Yeah, he definitely is gonna need some mental health. Yeah, and he trains with that every day, focusing his mind and staying stable to the best of his ability. It helps him get through day-to-day life without actually dealing with any, well, outrageous things such as like mental suffering. Because, well, I would suffer if I was reincarnated back into a 4-year-old me. I would lose my shit. And I'm pretty sure anybody would. So from here, we time skip on over towards the start of the original timeline, with the teacher entering into the classroom and, well, I would hand out these career aptitude tests, but I know you all want to be heroes. The teacher would still throw the papers into the air, which will still have all the kids in the classroom going crazy and activating their quirks. Izuku and Bakugo will be calm, as the teacher would explain that both of them are applying for UA. Everyone in the class begins to go crazy, as they look towards Izuku and says that most likely he can get in. I mean, he has a cool technopath quirk. And then he started off quirkless, so like he'd be like probably like a big old inspiration for the quirkless people. The teacher then says they're there now. Yes, Izuku and Bakugo are both applying for UA, but honestly, Izuku, do you really think you can do it? I mean, sure, you have a powerful quirk, but I mean, at the end of the day, technopath? I mean, tech isn't that powerful. The class then looks towards teacher and they would all kind of yell at the teacher saying that Izuku's quirk is freakishly powerful, which will lead to the teacher looking towards Izuku with an intrigued look. Izuku would quickly activate his armor, whereas from here, Izuku literally just says that currently it's made from the same exact technology that UA uses in order to create all of its security, which means that pretty much anything that is related to technology at UA doesn't really stand much of a chance against Izuku because, well, he's wearing that same tech and he's able to hack into any tech he wants. And the teacher would just shrug his shoulders like, oh, alright. From here, Izuku would go off like he would in the original timeline, and he then decides to go underneath the tunnel. He still wants to be All Might. he misses All Might. That was his master, his mentor, someone who he admired and trusted with all his life. Izuku looks forward. Works from here, the Sludgeland would pop out, as it would in the original timeline. Sorry, kid. I'm gonna need your body. I didn't know that freak was in town. Izuku looks forward towards him, kinda smiling, as he immediately activates his armor, and instantly the Sludgeland rushes towards Izuku. Izuku jumps upwards into the air, dodging the Sludgeland. Immediately, Izuku begins to zip all around, dodging the Sludgeland over and over and over again. Before Izuku would rush forward, cock back his fist, and go in for a punch, but the Sludgeland ends up using this as an opportunity. He wraps himself around Izuku, and immediately Izuku winds up being captured by the Sludgeland, all according to plan. As this happens, kaboom! I am here! All Might himself would arrive, just like he would in the original timeline. And Izuku would, well, hear it, and he knows what comes next. Kaboom! The Sludge Villain would end up being dispersed off of Izuku. And just like in the original timeline, Izuku grabs onto All Might's leg and tells him everything. But not everything, of course. He asks him if he thinks he can be a hero. Izuku explains that he lies to a lot of people and tells him that he has a Technopath Quirk, when in reality, it's just a little weak suit of armor he made as a kid. All Might looks towards him and tells him that he definitely can be a hero. Like, definitely can be a hero. With a quirk like that, oh my bad, with tech like that, you could definitely be a hero, kid. He tells him, but it's not smart. You should try being a police officer, or at least a support tech creator. And from here, well, like normal, kaboom! Explosions begins to go off. Izuku hears the explosion and quickly he runs off, just like he would in the original timeline. And I'm gonna say everything from here will play out a bit like canon. Izuku activates his armor and he shoots a bunch of wind blasts through the Sludge, and they're able to break it apart. But for the sake of plot, I don't want it to be that powerful yet. So All Might's able to swoop in and he's able to take out the Sludge Villain. While All Might taking out the Sludge, this will still lead to All Might believing that Izuku to be a great kid and a great symbol. So he still would decide to train Izuku. But something he realizes very quickly is the fact that Izuku is a very physically built kid. Like, he's equivalent to his, I say, Season 3 self. Okay, honestly, that's not enough. I'm gonna say Season 5 self. Who could handle, I think, 45% one for all? Yeah. Izuku is literally, bro. Izuku is literally already physically built to handle a straight up 45% of one for all. And All Might sees this and he's like, shit, I have to get this kid trained now. And quickly he would, well, send Izuku off and the training would begin. But Izuku would have the beach cleaned in under a month. Which just, it blows All Might out of proportion. He doesn't even know what to do here. So he gives Izuku one for all. But very quickly, Izuku begins to show signs of knowledge All Might isn't expecting. As when he gets one for all, Izuku gets ecstatic and he instantly goes into full cowling. All Might sees that and he narrows his eyes at that. He then will walk towards Izuku and look him dead in the eyes. How did you already know how to use the quirk? Izuku would look towards him and would stop. He then would say, what do you mean? All Might then will tell him that he immediately spread one for all throughout his entire body and instantly used it rapidly. He was expecting Izuku to at least throw a 100% Detroit Smash without using any type of knowledge and just break his arm. But he didn't do that. He used one for all correctly at the percentage his body could handle. Izuku then looks towards, well, you said if my body wasn't strong enough, I would explode. So I used a percentage I assumed I would be best able to handle. All Might narrows his eyes before Izuku would sigh. I guess I was gonna have to tell somebody, Izuku would say. He looks towards All Might with a dead serious facial expression. And he drops the ball. He explains everything to All Might. And All Might doesn't believe him at all. But then Izuku explains the Vestige world. And there he begins to explain each holder of One for All's quirk resides within the quirk. And as a matter of fact, he proceeds to forcibly activate the quirk, floating himself upwards into the air using Nana Shimura's quirk. Then he would use Blackfoot. Then he would use, well, Smoke Screen. And then he would, well, he can't use Danger Sense, so we just say, yeah, that's about it. Because those users were the ones who already gave their quirks out. And All Might would say, well, there just seems to be all applications of your suit. Izuku then explains. His suit was built around One for All, as well as the quirks of some of his classmates within Class 1A. He explains that All Might himself also has a suit like this within the near future because eventually he's going to lose the embers of One for All. But Izuku looks forward. For years, after I lost One for All, you lost it. All Might would say with a confused face, how did you lose it? Sacrifice the quirk in order to defeat the greater evil. Tomura Shigaraki. Or, All for One. Again, he became too powerful, and the only way to stop him was by sacrificing One for All, and in the process, freeing the child within, that being Tomura Shimura. That was the only way he could do it. That was the only way he could free Shigaraki. He looks forward, nodding. He sighs and explains that at the end of the day, he assumes that he had a quirk the entire time, a reset quirk, one that granted him a second chance at life, and maybe several. Hopefully it isn't several, but because he kind of wants to go die at peace, but he's back, and this is his second chance at life. All Might hears this information, and he begins to take it all in. He looks forward towards Izuku and tells him that, well, since Izuku pretty much explained everything to him, and well, he kind of doesn't think he's lying. He asks him if he has so much experience with the quirk, what are some unique things he thinks he could do? Izuku looks forward and shrugs his shoulders before saying he knows all the basic applications of One for All. But he's been trying to figure out some new things. He explains that for years he had theories on how to use One for All in different ways, but he never really got around to actually getting to use it. All Might then will tell him, well, since he already knows how to do everything with One for All, experiment. But as a matter of fact, both of them will. Izuku then explains that he's been doing a lot of, mental training over the years, and there are some things that he thought One for All could possibly be capable of doing. He explains that One for All is a stockpile quirk, right? Built with power built up from generations from the past of each holder of One for All. One for All works like an energy or power spread throughout our bodies that allows us to enhance our strength, speed, durability by fucking immeasurable degrees. Meaning that if we can spread One for All throughout our body, what if we can channel One for All through other things? He explains that that is what he intended for his suit to do. That's why he made it so early. He wanted to see if he could channel One for All through it, enhancing its power and its abilities, as well as channeling One for All through weapons, others, and even other individual things, such as channeling One for All into our vocal cords, allowing us to increase our voice, channeling vocal cords into our lungs, allowing us to hold our breaths longer, or even unleash a massive blast of air from our breath, channeling One for All through our ears, allowing us to hear further, channeling One for All through our eyes, allowing us to see further, and, well, the most powerful thing I could think of, releasing One for All. Releasing bursts of built up One for All, which I believe would allow us to straight up release blast of energy. So your theory is that the main ability of One for All is actually an energy manipulation based ability. Izuku looks forward and nods. Honestly, I'm gonna be real, y'all, and this is King Crisis. I'm not even doing a video. Y'all might watch my channel a lot and see me do this often because I believe that One for All is capable of other things, and I do think that they're probably not using the quirk to its fullest. After all, we never really got to see a One for All quirk awakening, and for all we know, a quirk awakening would allow abilities like this because you're just channeling a percentage of the power through your body. Never said you couldn't channel it through other things, never said you couldn't, instead of channeling that percentage, release that percentage. So I genuinely do think that One for All could be capable of doing things like this. Comment down below if you would like for me to make a video just dedicated to One for All being able to do that alone. With that being said, well, let's get back into the video. With All Might seeing these new abilities of One for All in action and sees how Izuku uses it, he becomes genuinely stunned. Izuku uses One For All in the utmost powerful ways, and he's just brilliant with it. Izuku also goes as far as figuring out that with this ability, he can fuel All Might with One For All, refilling his embers. And this was brilliant. Izuku didn't even think he'll be able to do this. He even wonders if he could transfer some of the quirks of One For All into other people temporarily, and even go as far as removing that One For All right back out of them. Which again, he figures out that he most definitely can do. Which Izuku then processes it and just thinks to himself, my god, that's a pseudo all for one. Well, it's more like a gift temporarily, but he can even go as far as siphoning the quirks of One For All, their energy, and fueling them into other people, granting other people the ability to use the quirks of the other users, even if it's only for a short period of time, which every time is going to be for a short period of time. Just how Bakugo is able to temporarily get access to One For All after Izuku quote unquote passed it on, even though it was supposed to be passed on. But hey, we're going to use that same knowledge here and say instead, Izuku didn't transfer the quirk, he just accidentally transferred over its energy, granting Bakugo the ability to use the quirk for a period of time before, well, he passed out. From here, we time skip on over towards the UA entrance exams, which, well, is going to be a breeze. The UA entrance exams will begin, and very quickly, well, Izuku will breeze through the test as he's already taken the test and he's even been a UA teacher, so he already knows all the answers, all the secrets of UA. And literally, there's almost nothing Izuku does not already know about UA. So when it comes down to it, he gets the test. Izuku would ace the fuck out of the test. Acing the test, it then will lead on over towards Izuku. Well, yeah, going over towards the robot section. Like normal, he goes upwards and tries to walk up to Ochako, but he will be stopped by Ida. And Izuku will be extremely ecstatic to see Ida, but he would hide it. He would turn around and apologize, but explain that he wasn't really going over to talk to her. He was simply going over so that he can get closer to the robots. He apologizes to Ida because Ida, well, thought that, and he apologized for making it look like that. Worse from here, he would, well, walk over. The robot exams then would begin. The seconds the gates open, Izuku charges One For All and blitzes inside with a trail of dust being left behind and a little bit of a shockwave, throwing some of the kids off their feet. They didn't look forward, which from there, you see Izuku jump upwards into the air and immediately deliver a Detroit smash, which breaks right through a three-pointer with ease. Izuku then zooms forward towards a two-pointer, destroys it with a singular Detroit smash, destroying robot after robot after robot, moving at supersonic speeds. Nezu and all the teachers begin to watch on. We're like, whoa, who is that kid? Like, yo, he is causing mayhem. All Might looks forward and smiles uncontrollably as all the teachers begin to watch. Izuku be seen devastating robot after robot. Now, Izuku will wrap up a total of 300 robot points. Everything will be going great, but then, dun 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 dun, the zero pointer would arrive. And just like normal, everyone would panic and run away from the zero pointer. Everyone but Izuku, who stands forward, staring at the zero pointer as he would hear the scream for help. And before anyone could blink, the rebels destroyed and Ochako standing by Recovery Girl. Izuku then would walk forward, with a green energy exploding off of his body. He then looks for One For All. Output 60%. Kamehameha! Quite literally, Izuku unleashes a massive beam of pure One For All power, blowing the zero pointer apart, pretty much evaporating it. All the teachers would look forward. What the fuck? They all would say. Izuku, well, with the most arrogance you could humanly imagine, walked off, smiling uncontrollably. And All Might, well, All Might would be proud. Like, Izuku just really showed off. Izuku showed his game. He's literally peak. That's the only thing he could think about. From here, well, we cut over towards Izuku getting his letter in the mail. And Izuku has first place in the entrance exams as expected. He already knows about the rescue points. He already knows about all that. So, honestly, none of this is surprising for Izuku. The first day will come around. Whereas from here, well, we time skip, and ball throw test. So, The ball will be thrown towards Izuku. Izuku Midoriya, you got first place in your entrance exams. Use your quirk. Izuku then rouse back his hand, charges one for all, and unleashes a massive throw, around 60%. I legit do not know how far that ball would get. And I know 45% Deku is stronger than 100% All Might, so 60% is a little crazy. But the ball is, it's gone. Straight up, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. What matters is the ball gets stupidly far away. And with that being said, the class is stunned. The power that guy just released was insane. People like Bakugo and Todoroki looked forward in shock. But change is, Izuku kinda already told Bakugo. All Might was the first person Izuku told him. We actually cut to a flashback. On over towards Izuku actually hanging out with Bakugo. Because of course, this time around, Izuku quote unquote was a late bloomer who awakened a technopath quirk. But it was a lie. And he lied to all of his middle school and elementary classmates. And well, he told Bakugo the truth on this day. He admits that he don't have a technopath quirk. And he would drop the ball, telling Bakugo literally everything. And Bakugo, well, realistically, didn't believe him. He didn't believe him at all. Till Izuku just starts yapping. And I mean yapping about the future and just going on and 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 on. The point where Bakugo doesn't believe him, but just wants him to shut up. But today, after seeing Izuku's power and seeing him just use what that apparent quirk he was going to get, he now believes him. He was telling the truth. This would shock Bakugo. As he doesn't know what to do here. He doesn't know what to say. Izuku will walk off. And now from there, he begins to straight up solo everything. The ball will be thrown towards Izuku, and my bad, well, every test will come around, and Izuku will get first place in everything. Straight up everything. Even the ball throw. Ochako might have got Infinity, but Izuku got one for all in 60%. That ball's definitely out of the atmosphere. So, they both are tied for first place. And from here, the day would end. Now, Izuku will be seen walking home. And of course, Ochako and Ida will still walk off with Izuku. Izuku becomes extremely happy to talk to him. He just begins to yap with him the entire time. As y'all know, I hate Ida. I do. But I'm not going to make Deku hate him because this isn't like one of those other Dekus. This is the same Izuku Midoriya. So, talking to Ida is still talking to his best friend. So, as much as I hate him, I'm not going to make Izuku be mean to him. Because I'm just too realistic of a person. As much as I hate that annoying bitch, I'm not going to make Izuku hate him. So, with that being said, well, we cut on over to the hero versus villains. Now, everyone will march into the classroom like they would in the original timeline where they would all get their hero suits. Now, Izuku's hero suit is going to be the same suit made by his mother, except Izuku's going to apply his armor to the suit. Like, he quite literally made his armor look exactly like the suit, which he can do. He can modify his armor in his settings, and it will legit change color, it'll change like placements, it'll literally adapt, and it'll look different because it's mostly nanotech. It can do that. And since Izuku did this, well, his fight is going to be against the same team as it would be in the original timeline, mostly because Izuku told him who all the team was, and All Might didn't really want to mess up the timeline because they still don't know really what's going to happen with this. They're a little scared. They feel like something drastic might happen if they don't do everything correctly. Even though Izuku already isn't doing anything correctly, but you know they're trying, and they're failing. So Izuku and Ochako versus Bakugo and Ida. Bakugo looks towards Ida, and Ida looks towards Bakugo. Both of them says underneath their breath, "Fucking screwed." Instantly, they will walk inside, and as they walk inside, Bakugo and Ida will of course get a head start. And as they get a head start, Bakugo then will straight up say, "This pains me to say. I genuinely want to break every bone in my body just because I'm saying this. We gotta jump him." Ida looks towards him. "What? We gotta knock the girl out and we gotta jump him. We don't stand a chance at all, a chance in hell." and we don't know what all his quirks can do. As he says this, Ida looks towards him. Did you say quirks as in plural? He then looks towards him. Yes, plural, quirks. We don't know what all they can do. That means we are gonna have to tag team him. I don't know what else we can do. He asks Ida how fast is he. Ida then tells him pretty fast. He then tells him, okay, not an answer, but use your pretty fast speed to speed blitz him if you can. As he says this, he then says, and I'm gonna get the girl. We cut towards Izuku, whose ears could be seen glowing with a faint hint of green, as he could be seen listening into their conversation. He then looks forward and tells him, hey, he's going to come after you. And that's honestly a pretty smart plan to come after you. And, well, explains that he has to be ready. Well, she has to be ready, because they're coming after her. He's going to protect her, but, well, he doesn't really know what's about to happen. And as he says this, you see Ida zooming down the stairs. Zoom! He then will be seen jumping forward. He goes directly in for a kick at Ochako. Deku catches Ida by both of his legs and throws him against the wall. Worse from here, Bakugo would also be seen running down the stairs. Shut up and die! As he goes straight in for an explosion at Izuku's face. It hits Izuku head on, but it does absolutely nothing. Izuku looks forward, smirks, and immediately cocks back his fist and boom, Bakugo, sending him flying. Bakugo ends up flipping and he lands on the ground before looking forward, and Izuku's already gone from his peripheral vision. He looks all around just for Izuku to make him across the face, sending him flying again. Deku looks forward as Bakugo gets upwards. He rushes forward and goes in for an explosion. Izuku would dodge, immediately shooting forth his cords that wraps around Bakugo and not black with the cords from his armor. He snatches Bakugo forward and punches him directly in his stomach and sends him flying. Bakugo then looks forward towards him and says underneath his breath, not fair using support tech. Deku then would say, they said I could keep it. Bakugo looks at him. I want one. Deku then would say, okay, I'll make one for you. Well, I'll make this cinematics for you because I don't want to make that shit. But he looks forward. Fine. Bakugo rushes forward towards Deku. It immediately goes in for an explosion. Deku would immediately dodge it just for Bakugo to blink as Ida jumps upwards and kicks Izuku across the face. With Izuku being sent flying past Bakugo. Izuku hits the wall and he immediately looks upward just for Ida to boom forward, kick Ochako in the stomach and lay her ass out. Ochako drops to the ground unconscious and Deku's like, damn. Bakugo's like, damn. Ida's like, oh, I might have did too much. But Ochako's unconscious, Bakugo and Ida would look forward, with both of them booming in at their full speeds. Bakugo shooting explosions the fastest he can, and Ida running the fastest he can. Ida goes in for a kick at Izuku's right, Bakugo goes in for an explosion in Izuku's guts. Izuku jumps backwards and ducks at the same time, dodging both of their attacks. Just for Bakugo to immediately shoot an explosion, then he runs, jumps off Ida's back, jumps in the air, shoots an explosion that launches him even higher, and then goes downward for a powerful explosion as Ida goes in for a kick at Izuku's stomach. Finally, these two attacks would land, and Izuku would drop to the ground. Izuku will be pretty surprised at their teamwork here. But, he took the whole class out once before. He looks forward and smiles. A 2v1 isn't going to be much of anything. Well, he wasn't really fighting back, but he still defeated them. So, he looks forward, and instantly charges one for all. He looks up with a smile on his face and makes uppercuts Ida with 15%. Ida will be thrown back. Izuku then flies upwards into the air to the shock of Ida and Bakugo. What the heck? They would say. How are you flying? Izuku then shrugs his shoulders for saying he's nice like that. Bakugo unleashes a scream of rage as he uses the explosion to fly upwards and goes in for an explosion again. Izuku then dodges. Bakugo shoots explosion and shoots right past Izuku and immediately goes in for an explosion in Izuku's back. Izuku easily dodges out of the way as Ida Rosito bursts and jumps upwards into the air and goes in, and Izuku actually used the opportunity to throw Bakugo in front of the kick, making Ida kick Bakugo head on. Izuku then proceeds to activate Black Whip, this time actually using Black Whip, bonding Bakugo and Ida together. He then looks forward and immediately has fingers pointing forward, with two little bowls of energy beginning to appear from his two fingers. He shoots the blast of energy forward, but Bakugo quickly pulls the pin on his gauntlet and unleashes a massive explosion that blows apart the blast of energy and actually shoots forward and hits Izuku head on. All men would scream out in fear, but Bakugo says he can handle it. As he says this, Izuku would actually be seen standing upwards, handled it pretty well. He looks towards Bakugo, zooms at him, and instantly kicks him across the face, zips uppercuts him into the air, spins and slams him onto the ground. He then looks at him. You're done. As instantly, he delivers a push to Bakugo's stomach that lays him out. He then looks towards Ida, and Ida immediately has a bit of a scared facial expression, but he smiles as he rushes forward towards Izuku, and Izuku rushes forward towards him, with both of them clashing over and over and over and over again. As the fight begins to go on, the class begins to kind of wonder, like, yo, who's actually going to win this? Oh, what are we talking about? They watch as Izuku proceeds to punch Ida one good time, and he's unconscious. Alright, so from here, he defeated Ida, and this is the end of the hero. Alright, so it's the next day, so I do not know exactly where I left off, but I'm pretty sure Deku has just defeated Ida, so I think this is after the hero versus villains. If it isn't, I truly do apologize. Like, seriously. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue off where we left off. From here, after Izuku defeats Ida and Bakugo, he returns to the class, with him being declared as, well, the MVP. The class would honestly all just look towards Izuku, not really being able to truly process this. Like, sure, he's powerful, but like, he's too freaking powerful. Legitimately, the entire class wonders, like, what is his full strength even like? He's able to handle all types of things that just, realistically speaking, it just makes no sense that he can actually handle. He's too fast, he's too strong, he's too smart, he's too much of everything. They would look towards Izuku and, well, they would just wonder, like, yo, what is his full power even like? Because so far, none of them think they've seen it, and which is true. None of them have seen his full power yet. So the class would just kind of wonder, what type of monster could Izuku truly be underneath all of this? From here, we cut on over towards the day of everyone being on the bus headed towards the USJ. From here, they discuss who's the strongest, and it's pretty clear that the strongest is Izuku. I mean, he has super strength, super speed. He can create black tendrils that are crazy powerful. He has a support tech that goes crazy. He can fly, and God knows what else he can do. They don't even know all of his powers yet. And Izuku himself openly admits that he didn't even use all of his abilities yet. Which means that Izuku is just straight up a monster at heart. Like, he is legitimately a demon. So they don't really know what they're coming up against when it comes down to Izuku. Because what if Izuku would have just one day get angry and just decide, hey, I'm going to crash out and use my full strength? And they don't know what will happen. So the class will remain confused on, well, who's the strongest, and just wonder, hey, it has got to be Izuku. Anyways, time skipping on towards everybody making it there. Like normal, everything will play out from the beginning, with even Kirishima going off on the trend of, whoa, they got fake villains? Izuku will be thinking in his head, should he allow himself to get teleported, or should he rush down there and immediately take Shigaraki down before anything can get out of control? He will ponder there for a second, before he would just stop and decide, this is more important. He looks forward with a serious facial expression as he will be teleported away alongside Tsuyu and Mineta. Instantly underneath the water, Izuku takes action, immediately activating One for All and instantly swimming through the water at super speeds, throwing a few villains around the place. He instantly snatches Mineta up as he allows himself to be captured by Tsuyu. From here, Tsuyu would just snatch and throw them both on a boat. As this happens, Izuku would walk forward, with his eyes glowing a fearsome green. Immediately, Izuku charges up One for All, jumps into the air, and immediately unleashes a Detroit Smash, creating the same whirlpool he would have in the original timeline. Instantly, he would grab Tsuyu, Mineta, he would use Black Whip and Float as he instantly zooms off, with Tsuyu looking towards Izuku. It just straight up asks him, whoa, how strong are you really? Deku then will say, you're about to see. As quickly, Deku winds up dropping him off at the same area that would be dropped off in the original timeline, where you would see Aizawa, well, almost about to get laid out by the Nomu. But Izuku, who's just arrived in time, instantly speed blitzes towards the Nomu, appearing right in front of it and cocking it with a 60%, hitting it with a 60% Detroit Smash, sending the Nomu flying. As the Nomu will be sent flying, it will end up hitting its back as it gets up, and it rushes forward. Immediately, the Nomu rushes forward towards Izuku as Shigaraki commands, kill him. The Nomu goes in for a powerful punch, which punch will be blocked by Deku. It goes in for another, which will be blocked by Deku. Deku begins to block and evade all of the Nomu's hits. Everything that the Nomu's throwing at Deku, Deku's able to block it and just dogged this poor Nomu. Everything, legitimately everything, the Nomu throws at Deku, Deku's blocking it, evading it, and just embarrassing the creature. Shigaraki watches this go on and he's starting to get aggravated. No, not my precious Nomu. Ah! He begins to cry, whine and bitch. As Izuku begins to dog the Nomu, everything the Nomu throws at him, Izuku's dodging, evading, and everything that, Izuku throws at the Nomu's tanking. That is, of course, until Izuku just starts smiling. 60%. He strikes the Nomu one time and Nomu's doom sent flying as it slams through every area within the freaking USJ. Izuku then zooms off and appears right by the Nomu, zips and drags it back towards the scene. And there, Izuku would charge a beam of One For All and blow the Nomu's brain smooth off. And instantly, Kurogiri begins to activate his portals, trying to get Shigaraki out of there. But quickly, Izuku will speed blitz Kurogiri, punching his metal plate clean off, and causing him to lose control of his fog. Instantly, he grabs Shigaraki and immediately lays him out, knocking him unconscious. As this happens, Izuku looks towards Kurogiri, who's losing control, charges a beam of One For All, and knocks Kurogiri out as well. As this happens, Izuku would smile, as he begins to see the gray portals begin to form. Portals made by All For One. Izuku zips and he snatches Shigaraki smooth out of the portals, not allowing All For One to recapture Shigaraki. Izuku looks forward with a serious facial expression. This is not going to happen again. Not on his watch. And just like that, Shigaraki was snatched away from All For One, and Kurogiri as well. From here, this will be ending off the USJ. All Might and all the pros will arrive, and Shigaraki will be arrested. From here, Izuku would tell the police, at least All Might, everything he knows about Shigaraki. About the fact that All For One planted the quirk within him, about the fact that everything about Shigaraki's life was manipulated and made by All For One. And very quickly, the police officers and, all enforcements will have Shigaraki, and basically, they will go through hell with Shigaraki, trying to convince Shigaraki that All For One isn't a good person, and since he didn't really kill anyone yet, he's just been around people that killed a lot of people, there isn't really much they can do to Shigaraki. Like, they legitimately can't hold him for long. But it all comes down to Izuku, who reveals to Shigaraki everything that he knows with the future, what the future will hold, explaining the way his quirk will evolve. He explains everything to Shigaraki, while also explaining everything to important figures. People such as Nezu and other officers, or any people that can keep the secret, he exposed it to. He mostly exposed it to Shigaraki, and told him that he can fix this world. That everyone doesn't have to be villains. He can save them. They can save them. Izuku holds out his hand towards Shigaraki. Shigaraki looks towards Izuku and he begins to contemplate. Should he take Izuku's hand? Should he betray his master? Shigaraki will begin to think. Izuku then will tell him it will give him a week. Or from there, he would leave. We cut on over towards everyone returning back to school after the 2-week break, of course. With all of them returning back to school, Aizawa enters the classroom and says the same lines he would have in the original timeline. They have to start preparing for the UA Sports Festival. And, anything plays out like normal. Bakugo still being arrogant. He'll still yell at all the others despite knowing everything about his future. And we're just going to time skip on over towards when Izuku goes up and he gives his speech. I'd honestly say that the speech will go something along the lines of, I believe everybody can be a hero, and I believe everybody's going to be successful. I believe everything's going to be okay. I believe all you guys have great potential. I believe all you guys will be great. I believe all you guys are great. Blah, 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 blah. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and, we're just not really ready for what anyone has in the store because we don't know what anyone can do yet. And that's along the lines of some crap people say, because legitimately, I legit cannot think of anything for him to actually say. Like, I was going to pull I legit was just going to yap for a little minute, make up a long speech, but then I'm just like, I really feel like doing that shit. Nah, I don't. So yeah, since I don't feel like doing that, he just doesn't. He gives a simple, understandable, easy to understand speech. Okay, from here we time skip. I'd say the race. I'd make that play out like canon. Deku will still wind up getting first place with a 1 minute headman point. Not really like canon. He really just speed blitzed through it because he's the fastest person there and the strongest person there. And I'm going to give him the same team as in the original timeline. And we're just going to time skip straight to the Todoroki fight because why not? Like, I really kind of just want to get to the easy stuff because low-key, Loki, this is gonna be kind of a short video, so yeah. Anyways, Izuku steps into the ring, and Todoroki steps into the ring as well. Izuku will remember everything that happened their first time doing this fight, and he smiles. As Todoroki shoots forward a burst of ice towards Izuku, Izuku uses one for all and immediately destroys the wave of ice. He then looks towards him and says, Shoto, truthfully, you're not going to stand much of a chance against me if you're only going to use your ice. Please, use your fire. Todoroki hears as he looks towards Izuku. What? I'm not using that quirk. Izuku then looks towards him with a blank expression. If you don't use your ice, your fire, then I'm going to obliterate you, he would say. Todoroki then looks at him. I'm not using his quirk. Deku then would say, his quirk? His quirk? See, now I'm a bit confused here. What do you mean you're not using his quirk? Todoroki then would say, that Endeavor's flames. I'm not using Endeavor's flames. Deku just looks at him, remembering what Todoroki told him. He then will say, I'm a little confused now, because is Endeavor inside of your fucking body? Huh? Is Endeavor inside of your body? I mean, genetically, that's not the point. Is Endeavor the person that has access to your quirk? Is Endeavor the one using your flames? Is Endeavor the one using your ice? Todoroki will look forward and she would say, no. Izuku would say, then how, in God's name, is it his quirk? Huh? Explain that to me, Todoroki. How in God's name is this his quirk if he's not the one using it? Izuku then looks forward. It's your quirk, not his. Don't let it get into. Don't let your anger towards him consume you and make you make dumb decisions. Todoroki looks forward as he would ignite himself in flames, shoot a powerful burst of fire towards Zuko. Zuko jumps upwards into the air, dodging the attack. He then will activate float as he begins to fly all around Todoroki. Todoroki would shoot bursts of ice upwards and upwards and upwards, but Zuko would dodge, evade all of them, before zipping downward and kicking Todoroki in the stomach, appearing right behind him and cocking him across the face with a powerful punch. This punch would send Todoroki flying as he tumbles across the ground. Izuku begins to walk forward. Todoroki gets upwards and shoot upwards a burst of ice again, which Izuku would dodge, dodging the attack and instantly charging a 10% Detroit smash, punching Todoroki in the gut. Todoroki stumbles backwards as instantly he shoots upwards a geyser of ice. This geyser of ice would actually be successful. It hits Deku point blank range. Deku would stumble back. As he stumbles backwards, Izuku would look forward, admitting that he's powerful. Todoroki is incredibly powerful, but he's just not enough for Izuku. Izuku instantly jumps upwards and kicks Todoroki and sends him flying, before rushing forward towards him and immediately hitting him with a destructive punch to his stomach that causes Todoroki to cough up a knot of blood. He would drop to his knee as he looks towards Izuku, and Izuku would literally stand over him, before telling him, you are powerful. You have potential to be the number 2 pro hero. Probably will be the number 2 pro hero. But here's a quick tip for you. Master your flames. And then channel their power together. And learn how to use phosphor. Todoroki hears it, he's like, what is phosphor? What is that? Izuku then will simply shake his head. Combine your fire and your ice together. Obviously you won't be able to do that now, but I'll give you about a month. As Izuku proceeds to throw him out of the ring. And last but not least, the fight against Bakugo. Bakugo steps into the ring and he begins to talk crazy, just like Izuku was expecting. Die, 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 die. Deku just looks forward towards him and realizes the time. This is around the same exact time that Ida's brother will be hurt. Or, it's Hoichi Cleo. I think this happened like way before that, but like, I'm gonna just like mess it all up. And I'm just gonna say that it happened in his fight against Bakugo. So, yeah. Izuku knows what's gonna happen to Ida's brother. He knows that it's gonna happen during this fight. So he would stop himself. He would sigh, as well, he would forfeit the match. As he does this, Bakugo hears this, he's like, what the fuck? Instantly, Bakugo begins to crash out, but Izuku lies and says he has an emergency at home, and quickly he would leave the scene. With Bakugo really like knowing that shit's a lie. Because if anything was happening at the Midoriya family home, his family would be notified as well. So he watches Izuku literally leave the scene using his quirk at full speed. Izuku heads on over towards the area where Stain is at, where he has his blade and he's going to stab down into I's brother. Izuku will quickly zoom in as he kicks Stain across the face and he'll be flung back. Izuku looks towards him with a serious facial expression. He gets downward into a fighting stance. From here, he will blitz forward, and instantly Izuku one-shots Stain, taking him out of the equation. From here, we cut on over towards Izuku, returning to the prison, where there you see Shigaraki. As he looks forward towards him, well, he agrees. Shigaraki decides to work with Izuku, to work with the heroes, and a huge smile will spread across Izuku's face. Actually, he straight up begins to cry. He did it. He actually did it. He cries because he just achieved like the goal that he couldn't at first. He saved Shigaraki. And even if it's not the same, he still saved him, one way or another. From here, Shigaraki will be freed and he would actually become, well, he'd be brought to UA campus, where he would live on UA grounds. And well, he's there, so now every student has to live there. The dorm rooms will be made, and from here, well, we time skip all the way on over towards the All-For-One fight. Yes, with no Shigaraki being there, I don't really see the league forming the same. After all, we can't do that because Kogiri isn't there, Shigaraki isn't there, so most likely Dabi and the others aren't really going to show up either. Because, well, they originally went to the league because they already had 2 members. Now those members are out of the equation, which means the Force Training Camp arc will actually play out smoothly, with no incidents, no fight, no muscular showing up, no anything. Cutting over towards All Might, trying to figure out All-For-One's location, and him knowing where the doctor is, Shigaraki and Kogiri, would lead to them showing up there, and I'd say the fight against All-For-One would happen, but with Izuku and All Might both being there, I see Izuku ruthlessly murdering him. Just straight up. I legitimately see Izuku going full power, using Fajin, Gear Shift, everything. I can see him swooping in the battle and just straight up obliterating All-For-One, like murking that man instantaneously. I just don't see a chance in the world where Izuku wouldn't just straight up jump into battle, use his most powerful move, which is like, I forgot what it's called, but using his strongest Detroit smash and just killing that man. There's nothing else I can see happening. So with that being said, he dies and the overall arc will play out, but it doesn't really play out like in canon because Izuku is way stronger than in canon. And he's able to will actually take out all overall when they first interact with him. So in that alleyway scene where he sees it, Eri being hurt and upset, yeah, Izuku already knows about overall's quirk, he knows everything, so he zooms in and instantly speed blitzes and one taps him. Just like he basically did to All-For-One. In the end, All-For-One will be dead, overall will be dead, the All-For-One within Shigaraki's consciousness would be killed because Izuku would use One For All to forcibly enter the Vestige's world and, well, kill him. So with that being said, this is where we end up this video. Honestly, I don't really know how you guys are going to expect this. I don't know if you guys are going to like this. Next video I got coming out is another movie. It's going to be What If Deku Had a Pain Quirk. Don't know what I want to do with that quite yet. I might make it like some like ability where he can like induce pain into people's head, or like he can increase or decrease pain. I don't know yet. I'm just going to find out.